Good evening and welcome to the news roundup for Monday the 11th of September. Before we get into the news, please remember to like this video, share your views in the comments, and share the video with your family and friends.
Reach them! Always make sure the message reach them!
Now for the news in detail. The Jamaican government has returned a group of 36 Haitians who landed in Portland on Saturday. In a release, the Ministry of National Security said the Haitians who had arrived by boat were safely returned home on Monday morning. The ministry said it became aware of the group's arrival and consequently mobilized through the Jamaica Constabulary Force and the Passport, Citizenship and Immigration Agency in partnership with the Ministry of Health and Wellness the necessary measures to see to their safety and welfare needs. Following the completion of immigration checks and security vetting, the group was denied entry. From the vetting process, it was found that there were members who had been previously removed from Jamaica for breaches of entry, the ministry said. It said it was in dialogue with the government in Haiti and arrangements were made with the relevant authorities in Haiti to facilitate the group's safe return. In July, 37 Haitians landed on Boston Beach in Portland. They have since applied for asylum in Jamaica. Less than 24 hours after Philip Powell reported that his 10-month-old daughter and her mother had gone missing, his partner denied that she had anything to do with the suspected abduction. Hours later, a social media post claiming to be from the woman, who the police identified as 27-year-old Tachina Patterson, said she and little Saraya Paulwell were not missing. However, the police were still reporting the two as missing, while sources claimed that the post was fake. The saga started to deepen on Sunday morning when his partner of several years, Bradshaw, issued a statement in which he denied having anything to do with the disappearance of Patterson and the baby girl. The only interaction I have ever had with Miss Patterson is through a brief Facebook exchange, said Bradshaw in the statement. I have never spoken to her by phone, nor have I made any arrangements to meet with her. Any such reports in social media are lies and will be passed on to my lawyer for action to be taken in the days ahead, said Bradshaw, who is an attorney based in the United States. I have shared all information I have with the authorities, and I hope their investigation will lead to the safe return of Miss Patterson and her baby girl, added Bradshaw. She later told reporters in a telephone interview that claims Patterson received a call from someone purporting to be her and saying they wanted to meet the baby should be investigated. I have never spoken to this young lady. We have never met. How do you pick up yourself and why would you meet with a stranger you don't know, added Bradshaw, as she noted that reports were that Patterson was picked up in a gold van by a male driver who was wearing a dark shades. Why did you mention my name? My information was not public knowledge, added Bradshaw. In outlining the sequence of events surrounding Paulwell, who sits on the opposition benches in the parliament, Bradshaw said in May their 80-year-old daughter was sent sexually explicit photos, which were later followed by email threats and extortion attempts. She said the matter was reported to the Federal Bureau of Investigation, the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, and the Broward County Sheriff's Department Internet Crimes Against Children in the U.S. They later reported the matter to the Jamaican authorities. The threats against our child continued for months as the authorities investigated, said Bradshaw. She added that on Sunday, September 3, an email was sent out making threats that personal information on Paulwell would be released to the public. They also made damning threats against our child, said Bradshaw. According to Bradshaw, on Tuesday, September 5, she received an email from an address indicating that Patterson had a child with Paulwell. I spoke to Philip and he confirmed that he had a brief relationship with Miss Patterson and it is possible that the child was his, but he was not certain as a DNA test has not yet been done. This was the first time I was hearing about Miss Patterson and the child, said Bradshaw. She said she sent Patterson a message on Facebook Messenger advising her that Paulwell had opened up to her about their involvement and the possibility that the child was his. I advised her that Philip and I would ensure that the child is taken care of financially and that DNA tests would be done to ensure that Philip was the father of the child. As can be seen from my exchanges with Miss Patterson, there was no anger but just a genuine wish to see that an innocent child is taken care of and the knot caught up between two parents no longer in a relationship, said Bradshaw. She added, "I will continue to work with the local and U.S. authorities to get to the bottom of the threat against my family, in particular our young daughter. I will continue to pray for the safe return of Ms. Patterson and their baby and ask anyone with information to contact the police." Last week's cyber attack at the Financial Services Commission (FSC) appears to have been more grave cause for concern than first acknowledged by the entity that oversees the regulation of Jamaica's insurance, pension, and securities industries. According to reports, the Commission has lost almost all of its data that was hacked and encrypted. The hackers also demanded a ransom from the Commission, providing a link to a site with the instructions on how the ransom should be paid. However, as a majority entity dealing with cybercrimes, FSC personnel did not open the website, nor did the entity agree to pay any ransom. Multiple sources said that so widespread is the cyber attack that even the phone system at the Commission has been affected. Internal calls can be made, but calls from the outside or being made to outside lines do not get through, one source said. The FSC brought in overseas consultants who worked over the weekend to try to get the Commission back online. Along with files reportedly being compromised and internet service and the phone system being affected, even payments to staff have been impacted. It is understood that even if the files are recovered, they may be useless to the Commission. It was not immediately clear what type of files were primarily affected, but some FSC officials described the situation as a disaster. The St. Ann police seized the 7 homemade guns in the bedroom of a 46-year-old man who was found dead at his home on Saturday in the Content district. The body was discovered around 11 o'clock Saturday morning in a room he occupied at the premises. Later that day, family members were cleaning out a back room and they stumbled upon a bag containing a loaded .38 revolver. The police were summoned to the scene and a further search of the room revealed the 7 homemade guns, one of which was loaded. More from Senior Superintendent Dwight Powell, head of the St. Ann Police Division.
We proceeded to a premises that was previously occupied by one Mr. Stennett Peart. Sir Peart died yesterday from natural causes. During our operation at the premises, 1 .38 revolver affixed with 6 live .38 cartridges and 7 locally manufactured firearms were recovered from the premises. One of these locally manufactured weapons had a 9mm cartridge affixed to it. Just want to assure the residents of St. Ann that we continue to work assiduously to rid our parish of illegal firearms. We continue to do what is absolutely necessary to ensure that law and order is maintained in the jurisdiction.
An inmate at the Tower Street Adult Correctional Center was found hanging in his cell on Monday, the Department of Correctional Services said. Reports from an officer at the center are that about 7:15 a.m., the inmate, who was alone in a single cell, was found with a piece of cloth tied around his neck. He was taken to the Kingston Public Hospital where he was pronounced dead. The Independent Commission of Investigation has been informed of the incident, the center said. Opposition leader Mark Golding is again calling on Prime Minister Andrew Holness to name the 6 parliamentarians who are under investigation by the Integrity Commission for illicit enrichment.
We have a government that has been racked with corruption. 6 parliamentarians, 6 members of parliament are under investigation for illicit enrichment. Andrew Holness, you are the leader of that party. Tell the people who are the ones who are under investigation. I know that you know. Tell the people. Are you one of them, Andrew? Tell the people. Don't hide it, tell it. The people have a right to know. They need to know that their parliament is functioning with transparency and accountability. That people with a conflict of interest are not making decisions about important institutions like the Integrity Commission.
Prime Minister Andrew Holness says there is no place for attacks on the media in Jamaica's democracy. The Prime Minister says he has called on the police to thoroughly investigate the brazen gun attack on the parking lot of Nationwide News Network. Although no one was physically harmed in the incident, the assault left 2 vehicles damaged and sent staff fleeing. While the motivation behind the attack has not yet been identified, Holness noted that it followed certain inflammatory comments in the public domain. he took the occasion to warn his own party supporters to be mindful of their utterances. Meanwhile, PNP President Mark Golding and his General Secretary Dr. Dayton Campbell have been heavily criticized on social media after Golding was called on stage by Campbell at a PNP meeting in St. Andrew on Sunday night to remove a chain from the neck of popular vlogger Big Stone.
What exactly happened to your Big Stone? Andrew Honest. I've been a bandage for 7 years. And we tired of the labor right. Lord have mercy. I get a feeling, I have a feeling that Mark Golding has the key to release him out of bondage. I get a feeling. I have a feeling. I say I have a feeling. I have a feeling. I have a feeling. I say I have a feeling.
Head of the St. Elizabeth Police, Acting Superintendent Coolidge Minter, is commending his team for their well-planned and executed operation that led to the recapture of Richard Brown, an escapee from the Black River Police Station lockup. Brown was captured on Saturday. The 7 other escapee remains at large.
The country is well aware that on the 19th of June this year, 8 men escaped out of the Black River lockup. Since their escape, a number of investigations have been done, several operations which actually spans across several geographic divisions. This led us to the 9th of September at approximately 5:25 p.m. A special operation was conducted in a quiet community of Buena Vista, where one of the escapees was held. His name is Richard Brown. Richard Brown was held peacefully and surrendered to the police without any confrontation. I want to use this opportunity to speak to the other 7 who are out there to turn themselves into the police. They can do so with an attorney, a justice of the peace, or speak with a minister of religion. I'm also urging them not to confront the police. They are to follow the example of Richard Brown, who peacefully surrendered, and as a result, he is now back in custody safely. I also want to use this opportunity to speak to the other violence producers in the parish of St. Elizabeth. Many of them are out there and are still committing offenses. I also want to urge them not to confront our officers and to surrender to the police if they are so confronted by us. Richard Brown was on several charges, 4 counts of robbery and also illegal possession of a firearm.
The Independent Commission of Investigations, INDICOM, is probing the shooting of a man believed to be of unsound mind early Monday morning in Portland. Details of the shooting are sketchy, as it is uncertain if the man was shot by a licensed firearm holder whose house he attacked with stones, or the police who were also attacked with stones while responding to the incident. Deputy Superintendent Julia Francis of the Port Antonio Police said that the police received a report shortly after 2 a.m. about a man pelting stones at a house occupied by a resident who is also a licensed firearm holder. According to Francis, when the police arrived at the location, they too came under attack from the man who pelted stones at them, damaging a service vehicle. According to Francis, the police, in defending themselves, reportedly discharged their firearm, likewise the licensed firearm holder, resulting in a single shot hitting the man in the shoulder. The wounded man was rushed to hospital, where he has been admitted under police guard. It is still uncertain as to whether it was the police or the licensed firearm holder who fired the shot that hit the man. However, according to Francis, investigations are currently ongoing. And that is it for your news roundup for today. We would appreciate you liking this video, leaving a comment, and sharing the video with your family and friends. Have a good evening, and see you next time.